Hey everybody, this is Stacey, and we are on WV Uncommonplace.
Uh-oh.
So we are going to make some changes.
Changes?
Yes.
Real quick, I'm JR.
Let me get situated here. Hold on. Time out. So we've discussed this a while, and I think that we need to take the next step.
And what's that?
You need to create a Facebook group or a page, whichever works out better. And we are going to start our Snapchat podcasting group.
Okay. So I guess I gotta do the roundabout story real quick for the people that don't know.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
So I'll tie into that. This is my podcast right now, not yours. So you can't take over.
You got it.
Okay. Anybody that has listened for any time now knows that JR likes to talk.
Too much.
JR likes to have the last word, and JR likes to take control of the mic and have the most input. But today I'm being forceful.
Uh-oh.
We're going to get this. We're going to... I know. He's got his hand behind his back now. So at first I was like, why does this matter? The Snapchat feature. Why does it matter? I didn't understand. It didn't make sense to me. But the more I sat there and the more I thought about it and listened to you explain it to other people, and like me listening in the background and you showing me these different numbers and me doing it myself, it made me understand a little bit better. There's still stuff out there I don't completely understand with it. And I know that everybody is going to take time to get used to it. But I love the fact that you can go into Spotify and grab anybody's podcast. So I'm just going to pull out King Germ because...
Pardon save my marriage. with Queen Germ too, because she's excellent on there also. She's actually the star.
Listen, it's my story.
Okay.
And the only reason why I'm picking King Germ is because y'all talk all the time and it's easy for me to remember. And that way I don't pick someone that doesn't matter anymore. So we could go in, and when we decide to go to Orlando this year, which is not a good example because he's in
Tallahassee,
the Florida area. So let me redo this. When we take our trip up to Boston for Halloween, yes, you don't know that yet, but we're going to Boston for Halloween. We can take their show from Spotify and put it into our Snapchat Snap Map. So people in Boston might be able to find his show or their show that they have never thought of. And so what I want to do is I want to create a group, and any podcaster can join, but it's going to kind of be a you scratch my back, I scratch your back type of thing. So we go in, and Jimmy here over in Oregon is going to share our show from West Virginia. And we're going to take Jimmy's show and share it in Charleston, West Virginia, because that's one of our bigger areas. So I would love to see people's numbers. So if you're out there and you feel like you're a podcaster and you want to jump on the bandwagon with us, by the time this comes out, we'll have already created the group.
No doubt.
So make sure you find us. We'll put in the show notes what the link is and what the group's going to be called. Come join us and help promote our show, and we'll help you promote yours.
Okay.
So now, give us a roundabout of why this is important.
Okay, so this is what happened. I am analytical. Mm-hmm. I study. I am a scientist of podcasting.
Just in general.
Just in general. I'm just a scientist.
You're very data...
Everything has to have a formulation to it.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. I was out here listening to every freaking podcast guru, but a key thing is I was listening to social media gurus. Mm-hmm. No one said anything about Snapchat. No one said anything about Spotify having an integration
Right.
to share your show. So Stacey and I head to North Carolina. I had switched jobs, I think, and we were in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'll never forget it. I was reading the integration because Stacey was driving us. I was reading the integration from West Virginia, North Carolina. And I was like, why am I not doing this?
Right.
So I didn't say anything to her. I just put the show up in certain places. We went to Jake's Pub, I think it was. If it's not,
I'm
then
pretty
what?
sure that's what it is.
So we were in Jake's Pub. I had already produced 3 shows or 4 shows at that time. Maybe he had 10, whatever. Doesn't matter the number. So I sat it there. We went back to the room. I think we were Red Roof, and we were in a cheap hotel.
Right.
But wherever we were there. And I noticed 5 people grabbed on to the show. And I was like, wow, how did this happen? How did this take place? And I realized that going back to my Anchor analytics at the time before Spotify did whatever they did to it, and I could see that some people in Greensboro, North Carolina, it was 4 people had listened. I couldn't tell exactly who listened, but I had a certain percentage there that I could see. Well, I go back to the Snap, and it shows me who the person is. And everybody knows with Snapchat, them seeing that, I didn't necessarily give up the privacy of where I was. I was just at Jake's Pub at that time, put the information there, and I left it. And the key thing that I did with this that a lot of people get mistaken and mess up is I do not befriend anyone that listens to my show from Snapchat.
Right.
Because that's a privacy issue. The location thing is the first thing that everybody jumps on to me about. They're like, so how do I keep this all sane?
Because you're not tagging your location. What happens is whenever you take a picture at, let's use Pullman Square in Huntington.
Yes.
We were there one year, and I took a picture and I posted it to the
Public Snap Map.
But you have to sort your filter. And in that filter, it'll show Pullman Square, Huntington, West Virginia. It could have changed by now, but I think back then it was Pullman Square, Huntington, West Virginia, and it had to physically tag that location within that filter. And that's the difference in a lot of things of the errors that I made previously when I was trying to throw your shows out there, is we didn't sort that filter long enough to tag Pullman Square. Because looking back at the video I took of, it might have been DJ Marvel.
Yes.
He was doing something and I took a video of the music. Over 900 people have seen that snap.
Yes.
So imagine out of those 900 people, if I was doing something podcast related, there's going to be a handful of people that are going to migrate to you because, oh, hey, I liked what he had to say.
And a key element inside here that people fail to realize, and I tell them, when I do your show, for instance, Sparrows Under Review, even though I'm part of it, it's still hers. And we're talking about Harry Potter. I will, and this is another thing that can tie over to Cap Show or wherever else, wherever you get your hashtags from. I put hashtags in that are relevant to Harry Potter.
Yeah, but hashtag makes no difference in a snap.
Well, I'm going to point you in the direction of SEO real quick.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but when I'm looking at a snap map and I go to the maps.
Yes.
And I see something glowing, I'm going to pop on that glow and it's going to show me who different people that have posted. So for you to get recognized at a location, one, it has to be a popular location.
Yes.
You have to cater towards people that are of the age that use Snapchat. Like my 60-year-old grandma is not going to be on Snapchat listening to it. And I know a lot of times you are like, oh, hey, my grandma's not going to listen to this, but I might see something and I'm like, oh, hey, that's a nice movie. I bet my mom would like that. And it works the same way for a podcast. But you can't convince me that a hashtag is going to make any difference in the Snapchat world.
All right. So for you, being the type of person you are, you are what I call my person B. Person A, which I didn't recognize at first, people actually, and this is something that goes on Instagram too, and like I said, this is really crazy to me. People search hashtags, and like I said, it's far. I know it sounds like I'm preaching something really crazy right now, but people actually will go, like, even on Instagram, hashtag Star Wars.
I understand that, but you're not going to see that in Snapchat. You can't convince me that people are searching hashtags on Snapchat.
We will have an SEO class later.
Okay, I understand that, but you're getting too technical with all this crap. Just keep it simple. You're looking at a snap map. I'm not going to search for a hashtag.
All right, so
I'm going to see the glow in space, and I'm going to click on the glow in space.
All right, so then we'll go with the premise is then. All right, let me get that corrected. She put me in a chokehold, y'all. Y'all just didn't hear it. So for me, when we go to Washington, D.C., we go to Pittsburgh or somewhere, I made sure that I had friends that were in California, because I do not go to Los Angeles, but every few years. You'll get me out there like 10-year spans.
I've went one time.
Right. My point, and you know, we're going to do more on the West Coast, but going to the West Coast, that's money.
Right. I mean, it was a free trip, so that's the only reason why I went.
Right. So here's my thing. I befriend people in areas that I normally will not venture to.
Right.
And with West Virginia Uncommonplace, what happened is with the Snap Map, I have a lot of friends in California.
Okay.
California is vast, like Florida. What's in the north is not in the south.
Right.
So I made sure I befriended them, and I let them know what my expertise was on traveling with their show. Your show with me is going to go from New York City all the way down there to Tennessee, all the way across here to Davenport, Iowa, because I got that kind of reach. So you're going to get a better reach out of me. But the reciprocity that I want from someone, and reciprocity is someone doing something for you because you do something for them. And it's all mutual respect. It's not about the gratification of how many listeners I get. I'm just happy when someone puts my show at the water fountain in Pasadena, California. Right. And I'm going to take their show and put it in Pittsburgh, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and out there with Tim in Toledo.
Right. And that's the biggest thing whenever it comes to doing this. If you're out here like, hey, I say I'm going to help promote your show because I'm in North Dakota, but you're not going to help, then there's no business for you in our group. So we've got to figure out a way to be beneficial, like how to, I don't want to say prove, because we're adults here, but in the same sense, there's got to be a way for you to be like, hey, I posted your stuff here, so what's that word? A give and take feature, like.
Well, that's reciprocity, but
okay.
Yeah, that's the technical term for it. So basically, like, that's something that I looked for in my exclusive group, my inclusive group. Now, outsiders, if you're someone in Hawaii and we have distant contact, or you're someone in Europe, because these Europeans are great for this.
Right.
They like the reciprocity because they're over there and I'm here.
Right.
And they share my show.
Right.
So, and I know that because I look at my analytics.
Right.
So,
and it's not going to be just strictly state thing, like to the states. Like,
right. Because some podcasts in Ukraine shares both of our show religiously. Okay. So I share their show.
Right.
And in that instance of when I do it on my Snap Map, there's people here picking it up. There's people of Ukraine descent that live in Chicago and these other places. Shout out to Chicago and Rodis live. Real quick. I'm sorry I had to do that real quick because Rodis is the man out there. But anyway.
Hi, Bubba.
Either way, reciprocity in there is something that, to me, like with the group you're starting, we're starting, it's going to be a different model than what I normally do.
Right.
Because I don't look for what someone's actually doing for me. I just do it after the thing of, if I listen to your show and I think it's good, I'm going to support it.
Right.
But
and that's always the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. Actually, I don't even know how to say this. I don't care if you listen to my show one time. Like, I don't care. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's fine. But if you like me and you support what I do, please share it with somebody else that you might think would like it. Like, I'm not going to go out there and listen to, what was the comment you made yesterday to King Jer? Someone out there doing a podcast about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to that podcast because I don't watch Seinfeld. But I like Tommy that does the show, so I'm going to share his podcast because my neighbor Barb likes Seinfeld. So I'm going to go, hey, there's this podcast about Seinfeld I think you might be interested in. And those are the easiest and absolutely free ways to support a podcast and to support a person.
Right.
And I feel like with doing this group, it's going to absolutely be free.
Right.
There is no charge with doing this. And you're going to be able to get your podcast out there in different areas, and you don't have to pay what's the dude's name from India?
Ahmed no, whoever.
I don't know. You don't have to pay the dude from India to fake your funk.
Yeah, to boost your numbers.
Right, because we're going to do these as real podcasts, and we're going to help each other out for free.
And this is super organic and easy. Like that's what bothered me with everyone that puts money out there and says, "Oh, run Facebook ads. Oh, run this." Mm-hmm. I'm giving you something that's giving you geolocation, and you can actually see the people that are following your show. Right. Now, it's certain context and how you have to put it out there. That's the only learning curve that you have to come to me or talk to someone about. And I'm not going to charge you for it up front.
Right.
I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I hope you pass it on.
Right. Because there's a guy on Twitter that you followed through the Sparrows Under Review. I like the way that he stated it, you know. Why are people out here charging for master classes when you can find the information for free?
Yes. Why?
And he has decided that he's going to start doing some free stuff.
And I seen him last week.
Yeah, did you see it?
And you know, not to go on a tangent or anything, but this is something free.
Right.
Now, I will say this in podcasting, you will have to invest in certain areas.
Right.
But when you're talking about...
you need to invest in the correct areas.
But when we're talking about marketing and advertising, I don't get how these social media gurus will not tell anyone about using Snapchat.
Because it's not a feature that they probably deal with. They probably don't understand. Like I said, I've posted quite a few clips of our podcast or your podcast that have 0 views. But they're areas that aren't visited a whole lot.
Right.
Because I'm usually the one that's always driving because I have anxiety. And I don't get to drop them off in the higher locations. Right. So usually it's a rest stop or a restaurant or something. But I'm getting it out there. One day someone might click on it and we might get a new listener because they decided they wanted to listen to it.
And I say my success is built on that because when they stop in rest areas, they sit there for past 24 months. We have not been back to North Carolina to be in a lengthy time in almost 3 years.
Right.
Or us together 3 years.
Right.
But me, myself, a year. So the thing is that I've seen my shows over 3 years get picked up. It's natural. It's organic. It's not cheating the system. So a podcaster that doesn't have a budget, that's who I was worried about in the very beginning when I started podcasting.
Right. Because a lot of times this is an outlet.
Right.
I need something to do to keep my mind sane, to keep me busy, but I don't want to go out there and deal with a whole lot of people because I can't handle it.
Yeah. And my thing is I started it out for the hobbyist, even though my mind's always been on the money.
Right.
I did it for the hobbyist because sometimes you can't just go in a Discord group and this and that. Right. But the one thing that happens in podcasting is podcasters get together and form friendships or alliances or justice leagues or whatever you want to call it. And they follow each other on Instagram. That's what this really came about.
Right.
I seen podcasters following each other and sharing their memes and this and that, but not sharing their shows. And I'm like...
Right.
I'm like,
and that's the thing. If you don't have a following, you're never going to get somebody else to follow. So... And that's what sucks with everything. It's because you have so many people and groups and shows and stuff like that have bots making them popular. So if you take Little Jimmy's podcast here about hay, and he tells you how the difference and the importance between the round bells and the square bells, and why he chooses to wrap the round bells in the plastic and he puts the square bells in the barn, which, you know, Jimmy's dad down the road needs to learn this because it's important for him because he's starting to do hay. But he can't get out there because only one person is supporting him. Well, when you have Bob here telling me how to eat a pizza, and he's spent $10,000 for somebody to come in and boost his numbers up, not organically like you like to put it, he's getting more traction on how to eat a pizza, which everybody should know, because he has the means to build that. So we're kind of trying to help the hayfield.
Right.
Like, so let's do this for free. Let's help each other out. Let's give some, let's take some. Let's all join the melting pot.
Now, can I put in my negative part real quick?
Sure.
Oh, here it goes. Now here's what got me. This is the thing that really got me heavy into this. Because I would look on Instagram, and we're not talking about bots. We're talking about people from big cities. We are from a place of 1.5 million people. That's it. 1.5 million people. That's a city. That's not even Orlando.
Right.
I hate to use that as an example, but Orlando or Columbus. My voice just did something crazy. So I go on here and I look and I see these people in big metropolis areas, and I see they got 1,000 followers. I see they got 3,000 followers. They got 10,000 followers. That's the one I love to see the most.
Right.
You have 10,000 followers, but your show didn't get 100 downloads.
Right. Make it make sense.
So I always say this, 10% of what your audience is. So if your audience was 100 people, you should have 10 listeners. 1,000 people, you should have 100.
Right. And then I understand with that, though. I could be following your podcast. Like, I'm following your podcast. This one that we're talking about right now. How many times have I actually listened to the show?
None.
Maybe twice.
Maybe not, but
I have at least twice.
All right, so
but you do have your silent supporters, and we're not, like, when you say that, it's not taken away from those that don't actually listen to the show. But following people and helping them build those numbers, like on TikTok, you have to have 1,000 followers to go live.
Right.
You have to have a video thing, I think, hit 1 million views before you can join any type of creator fund. So, yeah, you might see a whole bunch of numbers here and you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, but you're not going to be able to make any money off of TikTok because you haven't hit that 1 million views.
Okay.
So each section and thing is different. At the end of the day, nothing matters as far as followers and likes and shares and stuff like that until it comes to sponsorships.
Right. So
you could, like, I know that came out a little weird because sponsors are weird right now.
Yeah, they've been weird.
They want you to have 1 million followers on your social media in order to want to do something with you. Not every single one of them's like that. I'm not saying everyone is. But you could have a really good podcast and you can be the 0.05% on that thing that you talk about, yet you barely have 1,000 followers on TikTok, so they don't want to give you sponsorships. Right.
The ratio on that, but what I was trying to tie into is that the crazy thing is you have 10,000 people that follow you, and we'll say even if you just have 1,000, because I keep our number low. I unfollow people real quick on my show on West Virginia Uncommonplace, but the people that follow me, I encourage them to share my stuff through Snapchat.
Right.
And that costs nothing. It hurts no one.
Right. I've got you to change your mind on that point of view.
Right. So that's what I was saying about the 10,000 people. I didn't get to finish it. So what I was going to say is, like, 10,000 people. If you got that many people following you, ask them out of 10,000. If you have 5,000 share your show somewhere,
right,
that multiplies
somebody else can pick it up.
Yeah, that can multiply by 3 to 10 people off of that 5,000.
Right. And like we said, and a lot of people say, it costs nothing to share.
So true.
It takes you a few seconds to hit that like button or that share button or anything. So if you like the person and you like what they're doing, but you might not listen to their podcast, that's okay. Hit that share button so somebody else can find them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to get out of this group. And, I don't want it to become, anything crazy, but any input and recommendations, suggestions, anything like that, send over an email or go to the Instagram and send him a DM. WV Uncommonplace at gmail.com. That is also the Instagram handle, WV Uncommonplace. He's on Twitter. We are on Twitter. We do have a Facebook page. Obviously, we're going to tie into this somehow.
Yes.
Make sure you're following us on everything. We do follow for follow.
Yes.
As long as you are following us, then we'll follow you. But the second you hit that unfollow button, we're going to hit that unfollow button. Just being honest.
Yeah, because no doubt I'll be stat tracking that.
You do.
I'm scrolling. That's what I do on Sundays.
Yeah. So, like I said, make sure you let us know what you think. Any ideas, suggestions. Maybe you disagree with what we're saying. That's fine. We're okay with that. Let us know so that way we can discuss it. If you're a podcaster out there and you have any input on this, send JR a message and maybe we can all talk together. And, like I said, let's help each other out and let's do it for free.
No doubt in that. Collaboration doesn't mean you have to go on someone's podcast.
Right.
Collaboration has so many different wheels and turns to it. So like always, I'm JR.
And I'm Stacey.
And we're signing off.